Alright guys, this is a very long format video on how to take apart a Yamaha YFZ3 Raptor. I work slowly, so the video is going to take quite a bit of time. I put time stamps down in the description so that you guys can jump right to the section that you're working on, the particular part of the bike you're working on. As always, the reason I make these videos is to try to help somebody else who's going through the same process. So I apologize for the video length, and if I ramble too much, I apologize for that too ahead of time. But I really do hope this helps somebody out there. So if you get something out of this, like, comment, subscribe. Fair warning to anybody that just says nasty shit, I will immediately ban and block you. If you've got something constructive to say, I'd be more than happy to hear it and either discuss it or just read the comments. I know YouTube comments can kind of be a cesspool, so please guys try to keep them constructive or I will just delete them. Don't give a crap. So but for those of you that actually are watching the video to get something out of it, I really do hope this helps you guys, and here we go. Alright guys, I figured we'd do a video today on tearing this Raptor 350 apart. We took it out in the dunes, sheesh, it's been like a year and a half now. And because Tyler's so big, he wants to get either a 700 or I'm going to get him a sand rail or something. So this thing's got rust all over it, so I'm going to tear it apart and clean it up and paint it and make it look nice so I can sell it. So really this is going to be an informational video. I think mainly it'll help the person who's trying to work on this. You know me, I'm going to do a long format video, so feel free to skip ahead. I'll try to put in the little timeline thingies that allow you to skip to a certain section. So first, obviously, we're going to take the wheels off, and then we'll probably do the bodywork next. So, like I said, long format video. I'll name off all the sizes that I use to take stuff apart, and this will be for the person who's maybe doing a teardown or pulling a motor or something like that. So, we'll get on with it.
I need to close this because I can hear you.
All right, guys. Wheels first, 14 millimeter. We'll see if my little DeWalt will get them off, which happily it does. You're gonna want to get a little bucket or something to put this stuff in. I always save little food containers. I'm gonna pause you guys out and go grab something. Alright guys, I found some snack sandwich baggies that'll work. Fan of those too. So this wheel's already ready to come off. See how much of a hassle this is. Alrighty, that was interesting. So Get these tires back out of the road. One of the things that I've had happen before is because these studs are a fine thread, the nuts will be seized on there pretty heavily, especially if the back tires have had issues. So I know this goes against probably what a lot of people would say, but I actually grease my studs. If you properly torque them, they're not going to come off. But I've had them seized pretty heavily in, you know, salt water and all that bull crap. So I grease mine, and then down the road I'm going to get some titanium thread lockers. These wave plates or whatever they are, spacer plates. I'm going to paint those, I guess. So get them off over here. So we'll move on to the back tires next, guys. Okay guys, back tires are next. You can't really see it because of the position you're in, but I had to get an extension. Yeah, so these are the ones that I've had issues with where I can't get them off with the small impact. And I don't have a large impact yet, so I'll just use the old Mac. Oh my god. Holy shit. That's really on there. Alrighty, that one still won't come off. So one of the issues I have, guys, is my wheel nuts have been on and off so many times that they're wore out. I need to replace them. And at least the grease is on there. I won't put you guys through the boring parts of taking the other wheel off. Alright guys, lights are next. 10mm socket. I have the four-wheeler on a Lazy Susan, which means I can spin it around any way I want. Works great. So if you guys ever need to mount your four-wheeler or get it up on a table, Lazy Susan's the way to go, bruh. How does that come off? I don't want to bust it. Aha! Pulls straight off sideways. And connector's got a little push in. Push that tab in. Hopefully give it a little wiggle. Maybe it needs a little more than a wiggle. Alright guys, need a screwdriver for that. Alright guys, like I said before, you're going to need a screwdriver for this little connector right here, because it doesn't quite push down enough with just your finger, but be careful and don't break it. These 10mm bolts, we'll put them in another snack baggie, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. Again, I'm sweating like a pig, guys. Sorry. Not gonna show you the repeat. I got the light up in here so you can see what you're doing, or what I'm doing. The goal is to get this fairing off next. Start taking some of this plastic off. So we'll kind of work our way across the top here. All right, guys. Next is this nose piece. These two top bolts come out with a 4mm Allen. I elected not to take them out with the power tool. I think what I'm going to do is put all this stuff back in the same hole it came out of. That's something I was brought up to do instead of throwing it in baggies. So that's what we'll be doing, unless it's not feasible, unless it's in the road. So those light bolts are going to go back in their holes respectively. Don't lose that. I've never taken this piece off before, so how does it come off? Does it slide on? Does it just come off? How does that come off? Is it clipped in there? It's clipped in. There you go. Alright, so that plastic piece just clips right out. And if you don't lose your bolts, you can stick them right back in the plastic. So we'll put them back in. I'm also, like I said, I'm going to put the light bolts back in. So 4mm on these, 4mm Allen. It looks like a 10 on this nose piece. I'll guess here. Yeah, 10mm. Can you just see that? Right here, these two, 10mm. So we'll go ahead and pull those out real quick. And I'm going to stop you because I got to find the next pieces. Alright guys, we're back down under here. The next bolt is up here on top. It's also a 10mm. Now I got a deep socket out for some dumb reason. That's just what I got out. You might want to crack that with a box wrench. Now this last one here is an Phillips head. It's right here, and it's technically a number 2. I'm sure it'll come out, or number 3. But I'm sure it'll come out with a number 2, so I'm going to pause you guys and go get that. So on my number 2 attachment, it's got serrations on it. I forget what the actual nomenclature for that type of bit is, but we'll get, you guys see, you can't really see. Of course it came right out, but the serrations obviously help it from stripping out. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other side, and we'll keep moving forward. Alright guys, I missed one. It's pretty obvious too. So, let me get that out of the road. That's also a 10mm, but it looks like it's a screwdriver on the other side, so I could either hold it in place, or I could just use both tools at the same time. No washer to worry about. Put that back on the bolt there. Actually, I'm going to leave it on the not on the body, because I'm going to clean the body up. Okay, same thing on the other side, guys. 10mm Phillips. Alright guys, next thing you gotta do is take the seat off, I think. So we'll go ahead and get the seat off. Then pull the seat. And it looks like these, what am I hanging up on here? My tools. It looks like maybe there's some screws in the frame here. Let's see, these guys, there's some kind of quarter turn nut that slides out. Come on. So those pull out, we'll put those back in a second. What do I got left here? I think the gas cap might be part of this equation. Oh, let's see. Ignition switch. Ignition switch is part of it. I'm guessing the gas cap's part of it. And let's see if I can pull this thing out. This fairing here. Let's see, go forward. Yeah, it looks like that came loose. And we'll do this side. Ta-da! Oh, handlebars, is that? No, this. So that goes. Alright, that's going to come off for sure. So yeah, you got to pull the gas cap off. Just kind of comes off in pieces here. What's hung up? Clip. So guys, don't forget the it's a clip that goes to, I'm not sure what, light switch maybe. Lights. Just unclip that. Bodywork's off. Front bodywork. So that was easy enough. It looks like these, I don't want to bust these side panels. They look like they've been pretty abused. Side panels just come off, which means that these guys can go back in there. I think it's these. Phillips bolts can go back in, or Phillips screws can go back in there. We'll take a look at that side plastic here in a minute. And we'll get this one off. And I'm going to turn you guys off. That's the front plastic, a majority of it. We're going to get you guys turned off here and we'll get back to it. Alright guys, I plan on not redoing, but cleaning up a lot of this stuff parts wise. So I'm not going to maybe do all this in the exact order you would. I'm going to start taking brackets off as easy as they are to remove. So it looks like maybe these headlight brackets come off pretty easy. Are they a 4mm or 10mm? So they're a 10mm. Bolted right to the frame. They come off no problem. Put these bolts back on the frame so I don't lose them. I just got to look and see if they're marked left and right here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark these real fast. So I'm going to pause you guys. Mmm, delicious. Better put the gas cap back on. Don't want shit. Don't want stuff getting in the fuel. Come on. Go on, you stupid cap. Making me crazy. Alright. Cap on. So passenger side, or we call it right side. Yeah, right side. Right. And guys, masking tape is your friend, besides the fact that I have this on video. Okay. And we'll get the left side off and do the same thing. You guys probably don't want to watch that, so maybe we'll get this bracket off right here that holds the back of the fender on. I'm gonna have to use a hand wrench for that one. Part of it's because I got these deep sockets out. Not too easy to go grab my other sockets. Come on out of there, Mr. Nut. And this is just the little bracket that holds the fenders on, the bottom of the fender. Come on out of there. Alright, got that out. It's got a little adapter that the, what are these? Looks like maybe the parking brake is, and something else is attached to it over on this side. Let me show you guys. So if you're still watching, which you guys are, right here, just this little pain in the ass hand wrap bracket thingy. Slide that out. Come on. There we go. And we're out. So we'll go ahead and spin this back around. Try not to hit you guys. And we'll get back to it here in a minute. Alright guys, plastic bumper time. Does that work right there? 10mm again. Looks like they're shouldered, at least the top ones are. Oh, they all are. Same setup, just take it off. Make sure the bolts go back in the holes. Or you could drop them. Whoa. Didn't want it tight. Really easy way to cross thread. Let's not do that. Let's put it in my hand. Alrighty, last one. I'm not sure what's next, guys, so I'm going to put you on hold again. Sorry to keep doing this. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and take the stator off. I'm taking a video so I can see what was where. And then I'm actually going to take a picture. Alright, stator is... Stator. This isn't the stator. This is something like the headlight module. I'm not sure what this is. Whoa. What the la 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 la. How come that's not coming out? That side came right out. Not sure what's going on there. Let's get that the rest of the way out. It just wasn't happy for some reason. So there's two longer bolts. Those go in this one. this upper piece, and then the shorter bolt goes in the lower box here, unit, whatever you want to call it. And let's see, need some pliers to squeeze this loose because I plan on doing this whole thing. So let's see, we got that can come loose. Put that in a box later. I gotta go get some pliers, guys. Be right back. Guys, back at it. So I got a pair of little mini pliers, and I can squeeze these and get them out of this hole without busting them, so I can reuse them. Same thing over here. Squeeze. Come on, squeeze and reuse. There we go, I want to reuse them. I don't know if this harness unplug, I mean I know it unplugs here, but I was hoping it'd come out further back, but it may not. So I guess we'll unplug this for now. Can you guys even see what I'm doing? Of course you can't. Let's try that. Sometimes I notice it helps to push forward on the plug before you pull it out. So this is all going to go to Walmart and get a little box for all this stuff. Moving on, what do we got up here? We got a fuel tank we can take out. Don't want to do that just yet. Got some handlebar action. I think I'm going to work on the front suspension for right now. So I'm going to back you guys up. And be right back. Alright guys, I'm assuming these are on stock setting, the shocks. What you don't want is to take this off and have this thing come flying out. So I'm going to be extra careful and lower this thing down to its lowest setting. So I'm hoping that's all the way nearly off. And then as far as taking it off, it's the large side is a 17, small side is a 15. Should be able to just rattle it right off. Now I'm hoping I've taken the pressure off this thing. Yep, sure have. Weird that that wants to stand up on its own like that. Huh. Alright guys, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Make sure you adjust these all the way down, let the pressure off the shock, and we'll go ahead and pull these out and we'll get to the next thing. I guess I could just leave you guys on here for a little bit. So I think the bottom shock may be the same. Yep, it is. 17 and a 15. Shocks out. Put the bolt back in. You guys can't see because I'm in the road. Let me move you over here. There you go. You can see this ridiculous light I've got here. So I got a video coming here real soon. We're going to do some kick-ass work lights that don't get in the road. I mean, this is nice, but it's still in the road some. So let's see if I can get this over here out of the way. Come on. No. Cheeky mother. Yeah. There we go. Is that out of your guys' road? Yeah, it sure is. Alright. We'll move on to... Those are going to require... probably 2 sockets. Let's see here. 2 wrenches. In fact, I don't think I can even do it with a deep. Be right back, guys. Alright guys, had to get the open end wrench out, so it's still a 15 and a 17. Holy smokes, it's tight. Oh, might have helped if I tried loosening the bolt, the nut side. Let's see. These are some kind of, they're like a nylock, but they're Yamaha's version of it. So we'll just leave that barely threaded on there until I get the rest of them broke loose. So, oh, you know what? I lied, guys. I'm so sorry. It's 14 and 17, not 15. So if I said that earlier in the video, please disregard. 14 and 17. Don't listen to me. Not 15 and 17. 14. Okay, now I got a brake line to deal with. And I also have, gosh, it's in a banjo fitting. Damn it. Ooh, ass end's getting light, so I'm gonna slide this thing forward a little bit. There we go. We're back to reasonably balanced. Alright, so we got a tie rod to take off. The cotter pin was easy to get out. 17 millimeter for the castle nut.
Sorry. Making a surprise appearance.
I'm just taking the castle nut off this side. I think I'm still going, am I?
Yeah.
I'll get a soft blow hammer for this. We'll see how it comes off. Flip the castle nut over for right now and have it stick up just above the top there. Actually, I wonder if I'd give it a little tap with the hammer. Where is the hammer? Right past you. Can you hand me that hammer over there when you go past? Swivel dog. Okay. Thank you. Alright guys, I wouldn't suggest using a framing hammer, but I'm going to use the side. Huh. Probably going to need a tie rod puller, but I was hoping that would come out real easy.
You got it. Grandpa's got one.
Yeah, that bad boy ain't coming out.
What are you doing?
Just making sure I didn't do anything to the nut.
Can I have my burrito now?
Yeah, we can go eat.
Yeah, I'm like starving here.
Alright guys, I'm going to take a break and we're going to go grab a bite to eat. So, talk to you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, I already popped this loose. It is a 10 millimeter here for the brake line clip. Brake line clip. It's the Bloods and the Crips. I believe it's also 10 millimeter for the actual caliper itself. We'll see here. Looks like it might be an 11 or 12. Let me get opening wrenches here. 12 millimeter. And there's just two bolts. In fact, let me bring you guys around so you can see them. So, one bolt here and then one bolt down where my wrench is. And they come loose pretty easily. I'm lazy, I don't want to bleed the brakes, so I'm just going to pull them off as a whole set. I'll set that up there. Put this. Bolts go with the calipers apparently. Like yeah, through the A-arm. Just want to make sure I got it on there right. So let's see, push the pads back in place, calipers go behind. Okay, so bolts go through this way. Don't want to confuse myself, this is the first time I've done this, so just trying to make sure that everything gets back in place the way it should be. Get that one back in. 12 millimeter on these guys. And we'll go ahead and set this up here for now. And I'm not sure where I'm going from here, so I'm going to pause it. Alright guys, so I had to run last night to get this 4-piece puller set from good old Harbor Freight. Couldn't get this off without it. I got the other side off. I wanted to test it and make sure that I wasn't going to screw you guys up on the old video. The littlest one's the one I use. It works marginally well. It has a hard time fitting under here, especially with the arm articulated down. I had to lift it up level so there was an even reveal around the whole thing, but that tie rod over there is definitely thrashed. It's got grease and all that crap squirting out, so it probably needs tie rod ends or whole tie rods. I'm going to price them out and see how much they cost. So as far as you guys are concerned, I'll show this tie rod real quick coming off, and I gotta go grab, I put all the tools away last night, so you can't just pound on this nut here, you actually have to pry it off. So I'll show you guys that. Hold on. So if I didn't tell you guys before, I guess that looks like about a 17. Yeah, it's a 17. Should come right off there. And that castle nut's a pretty crappy little nut. It's not very strong. This puller would probably work better with like a rubber band around it. The nut itself is a 14, I think, on this Harbor Freight guy. Maybe, yeah, I think it's a 14. Yep, so put the 17 back here real quick, guys. And then the thing is, I don't know if I can get it off with it down like this. One of the things I noticed, that little floppy end on there really sucks. I wish that... Oh, so you have to make sure that 2 of the arms go around this. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. It doesn't really come up tight the way I would think it would. So you have to hold all of the arms in place. Such a pain in the ass. And the rubber boot kind of wants to make it so it doesn't want to come off. You can see that arm didn't go on all the way. So that's on there pretty tight. I'm afraid it's going to slip off. Hey, there we go. Wow, what was that? So probably some Harbor Freight chunk. It was. What was that? So that was a piece of Harbor Freight chunkage there. Trying to evaluate what busted off. What in the world could have broke off here, guys? I just have no clue. If I see it, I'll let you guys know. But something, this, oh, you know what could have been my socket? Something sheared off. Can you guys see that on camera? Something sheared off and it's chrome on one side. So, gosh, I just got no clue what that is. What? That chrome is consistent with Harbor Freight crap. My socket didn't shear off. Stand by, guys. So, we'll be returning that item. See what sheared off? Good old Harbor Freight. The corner of it sheared off right there. So, these are going back today. That was entertaining. So, I don't know. I mean, I can still recommend it. It got it off. It was, you know, under the edge and freaking sheared off. Not a huge deal. I rattled on that thing, made a big old dent there. So, I would say that it was, I would say that there was too much pressure on the corner of the part, not that the Harbor Freight part necessarily. I mean, it failed, but I don't know. I'm going to take it back, though. So there you go, tie rod's off. Alright guys, all nuts on these A-arms go. The two forward ones have the nuts on the front, and the two rear ones have the nuts on the back. So they face outward from inside. They all look like they're the same length. I'm missing a washer on... Boy, that's weird. I had an extra assembly washer on one of them. I don't know what's going on there. You know what? I think I'm missing a washer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. I miscounted. There's 4. 4 nuts to go with it. So I'm going to take this upright, set it down, and then put these back in. I did buy baggies for these because when I go to sandblast and powder coat, I'm going to need to take the hardware off. And I may paint the hardware. I don't know. I thought about Cerakoting it with some H series and actually baking them. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how that works out. But these go from the outside in, or excuse me, from the inside out. And just trying to keep everything kitted up best I can. So I'm not going to show you guys the other side because that's the same thing. What I am going to do next is I'm going to take off the other brake caliper and this whole brake line setup. Can you guys see the top there? The whole brake line setup is going to come off, including this bracket and this reservoir. And I'm going to take all the brakes off as one set so I don't have to re-bleed them. So I think I'll stop you guys there and we'll get back to it in a little bit. Alright guys, next part is the handlebar, the brake lever. These are number 8s. They come off Well, mine, they came off real easy. They have no washer. They're a shouldered bolt. Of course, I'm going to put the bolts right back in the lever. Got a little chalkiness in the threads. Definitely going to put some grease in those when I put this thing back together. Let's see. Oh, let's move you guys around. So these guys right here, you slip the piece out of the little like cover piece and then they just come off. I don't know if I'm going to keep these or if I'm going to replace them with zip ties. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to route this. What would really be awesome is to get a different pair of bars and route them up to the bars, but right now that's a whole nother subject for motorcycledom or mountain bike or whatever you want to call it. So I'm not even sure I'm putting these on here back on right, but at least I'll be able to keep them. Last thing, so I'm going to put that over the top. Let's see if I can rotate you guys around. Last thing is these two, and then there's a one down below. I'll do those first, so we'll bring you guys around here. Right there. Maybe a little off to one side so I don't block it with my body. Refocus. Let's see what... Oh, sorry guys. That was... Jeez. Amateur hour here. Sorry, I got my 8mm over here. Put you guys back in shot. I'm going to guess that that's like a 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. Let's say 13, 12. 13, I was right. These nuts take off a whole bunch of stuff. They take off this metal keeper here. They take off the it's like the... Oh, those are bent over so you can't take them off. Son of a beach. There's a sheet metal tab here that keeps you from taking them off for safety reasons. You know what? We'll move down here first then. Hold on, guys. Going down. We're going to go ahead and take off this. I'm guessing that's a 12 or an 11. It might even be a 10. It is a 10. So keep the 13 out. We'll get this off real quick. This has definitely been in the salt. This is looking pretty janky, so I'm definitely going to clean this area up big time. So that hard line, that releases that from the frame. So that's loose. So I got to go get a screwdriver, guys. I'll be right back. Alright guys, in order to get these off, first you got to tap them out a little bit. Just a little tap to get them away from the nuts themselves because they're folded over hard against it. And then you should be able to stick it's a fairly large bladed screwdriver in there. And you're just going to bend them far enough over out of the road that you can get your socket in there. I don't think I tapped that one out quite enough. Nope. Alright. Hopefully that's enough to get my socket in there. Yeah, yes it is. I'm assuming if, as I start this, it may flatten those tabs out a little more. That is not a 13. I lied, guys. That's a 12, I think. Correctamundo, 12, not 13. 12. 12. All right. So this part, there's a lot of crap up here. And right now, all I want is this bracket off. So we'll pull the bolts out first. I don't know all what's under here. And then we're going to slide this bracket, we're going to slide the wiring out from under the brackets. And then these are going to come out of here too. And so we're going to keep our hard line. We're going to keep our loose screws with that little piece that bent up and held them in place. The like protector washer thingy. It looks like this all is separate here. It looks like this all comes off. So first thing we're going to do is get the brake system out of here. What's this right here? That goes, that's electrical. Does it unplug here? I think I'm still powered up. Well, I'm going to slip that out of its... So what I'm going to do, guys, you're still on? Okay, good. I'm going to snip this. Do I even need to snip it? No, I just need to disconnect it. So disconnecting this, I just had a little screwdriver. And now pulling it out. Need to get something to snip that with. Or twist it in half. So we'll get this off of here. Come on. Bad zip tie. And we'll snip that through. Alright, so brake system is able to be removed now. How easy that's going to be, I don't know. I got to snake it down through there. I'm going to pause you guys. Alright guys, I pulled this plastic cover off from up here. And it just pops off, and then I'm getting... See, can you guys see that? I'm getting this wire set off here. I'm not quite sure how it comes out. I don't want to break it. Oh, I push down. So this comes off. Put that over there with those parts. I'm just, I think I'm going to go ahead and take all these connections loose. There's no reason not to. So, let's see. What's next? That can come out. Oh, I don't want to bust it. Come on. That one's out. I'm not sure on this one, guys. It looks like you slide it out, but I can't. Alright, that one, you actually lift a little loop up right here and it slides off this pin. Can you guys see that? So you get under there and you lift this little hoop up and it slides off. So it looks like everything but maybe some of the throttle controls is loose. I'm just trying to get everything ready to come off of this handlebar setup here. So pulling these off up here, these little straps, putting them back on their respective wiring, and not sure what else needs to come out. I think I'm going to bring possibly those calipers up through there. I don't know which one's going to be easier. I'm going to pause you guys again. Alright guys, we'll do handlebars next. We'll just start taking the stuff off that needs to come off the handlebars. So, got my impact gun for these little guys, make sure I don't strip them out. Make sure I don't lose parts. I'm going to get to the battery here real soon. I should have done it a long time ago. Alright, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to stop and, well, no, we'll go ahead and get the rest of these off. You guys are already here, so. This handlebar piece, let's see, goes with the split down and goes with that little top. This is orientated up. This little mark goes against the throttle for some reason. So we'll pull that off and put it in the spare parts area. I'm sorry guys, not spare parts, in loose parts. Not a spare. I'm going to move this out, spin you guys around, we'll do this side. So it looks like, is there anything that comes off? That comes off with what? Bolt, or that comes off with 2 nuts. I don't know how this control comes off. I'm not super sure about that. Oh, it comes off with screws. Might as well get that one while we're here. So this one also has Phillips, and they're right here. Just give them a little pop. Dang, you got some collarbone issues going on. I broke my collarbone riding BMX years ago, and damn, it's not happy today. Ooh, there's electronics in there. I wish I knew. Okay, good. Okay. Real carefully, you have to stretch that over your grip bars. Screws are the same length. Okay. This comes off with what looks like maybe even smaller than 8s. Are they 8s? They are number 8s. Come on. Put them in by hand. You guys still with me? Yep. So we're putting in this bottom. These are number 8s on your brake lever. And we'll get those in real quick. Now, I believe this steering setup should be free to come out. So I'm going to back you guys up. I'm going to attempt to light this thing up here a little bit. Hopefully that helps. Does it help? Yeah, a little bit. A little contrast. I don't know how this is going to work, guys. I really don't. Nope. So, these are spacers. And then we got what looks like some O-rings that go on there. That one's... Do they come in half or are they busted? Oh, they actually pop in half. All that stuff pulled off. I don't see an order to this. I don't know if there's a front and back. I'll try to examine it. Looks as if, I don't know. There's 1 and 2. Okay. So number 2, the one that's labeled 2 went against the frame, and the one that's labeled number 1 sticks out at you. So that's how I'm going to set them up. I can tell by the dirt marks. Why is this thing not coming out? Oh, the nut on the bottom, that's why. Alright guys, hold on. Alright guys, there's the nut that needs to come off. There's a cotter pin that you pull out on and it pops off. I don't know what size this is. We're going to find out. Probably a 14. Yeah, Yamaha seems to stay standardized. So 14, and I'm going to put an extension on there. Let's see. I just went and got these impact extensions from good old HF. All's well that ends well. Washer and nut or bolt. Excuse me. And then, does this just come out? Oh shit, it does. Alright, so let's see if I can get this out of here. Tie rods, come on. bike got real light in the ass end. Let's see if I can pull it forward some more. I don't know. That was a little scary. You know what? It's just gonna have to do for a second while I try to pull this out. Can you guys still see what I'm doing? Alright, I'm just trying to get this thing out of here. Would probably come out if it wasn't hung up. So I'm gonna move these calipers out of the road. And I'm going to get these lines out of the road, hopefully. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get this out in one piece. What am I hitting on? This whole bike wants to slide off here. You guys are laughing, I'm sure, right now. All you four-wheeler guys that know what I'm trying to do here. Nobody's probably ever tried to do this. How would I cut you guys off? So I'm trying to get the brake line through here first. I think I can just pull this out in between here. Yeah. And then, oh, there went my light. All the way forward. Come on. You guys will probably be like, super easy to bleed the brakes. Why did you do that? But I don't know. I don't like bleeding brakes. So there's the whole brake system out in one piece. I guess I'll make sure the reservoir's up so that it don't bleed out. Next, keep this away from here. My collarbone is killing me. What is going on? I don't know. Seems like I've had this closer before. Oh, I just figured it out. So you just rotate it around 180 degrees and it comes right out. Alright. There we go, boys and girls. Hope you're on for that. So tie rods are out with the handlebars. What's left? Get this plug through here. Get that out the frame over here on this side through this loop. Is that welded to the frame? Holy cow. Pull that through. This is the brakes, so I can set these over here and try to kink them. And what do we got left? The main harness and the choke and some other crap here. So this can all be fed through the frame. What is this? Why am I getting hung up? Alright, come on out of there. Plug too, plug, come on. What's the dealio? There we go. Last but not least, the main harness. Can be pulled out this side over here. And we're getting pretty close, guys. So, looks like that's the starter. So pretty much the whole front end, can you guys see that? Pretty much the whole front end's gutted. I'm going to do some cleanup now. I'm going to shut you guys off. Got to charge the battery on the little light. Got to bag stuff up that's loose, that's going to stay loose. Make sure that some things go back on the bike. In fact, right now, I'm going to put the front end back on. Tabs were down or up? Boy, I don't remember. Let's see. Gosh, where's the handlebars at? Handlebars are right there. So this is the clamp. There's one piece missing, I think. Yeah, there is. What metal part am I missing? Oh, right here. This is part of the brake system. So you won't have the clamp that's part of the brake system. You can go ahead and at least throw these back in and keep from having parts go everywhere. Remember, two goes towards the frame, one points outward. I don't know that they're any different, but just in case. Alright guys, I'm going to shut you off. I'm going to do some cleanup, get tools put away, and then we'll start back in. Alright, thank you YouTube for your music censorship. We all appreciate it very much. So we're going to go ahead and take this rear fairing off. Now at this point, this thing's got really heavily back weighted. It's out of view, I'll show you. That block had to be placed under the rear end to get it in position and then put it under there because it's wanting to slide off backwards because I've taken all the weight off the front end. So we're going to go ahead and start working on the back end here, taking the fairing off and all that good stuff. So I'm going to guess that those are like an 11 millimeter. No, they're 10s. And in this case, I don't think I can get to one of them. So we'll grab the old open-end wrench right here where the brake booster is, or where the brake reservoir is. And pull that out and throw the, we'll keep the nut with the booster and not with the body. I I can do this with the socket. Make sure you're going the right way. So that would be a 10 millimeter and a Phillips. I'm going to stick this back in here and spin the nut on. Didgeridoo, we'll go around and do the rest of it. Holy smokes, hopefully that's a fly and not a bee. Or you could drop the nut and have to fish it off the ground somewhere. There we go. And if you're really clever, you could bash your head on the four-wheeler. Come on, don't be in such a hurry. Alright, at some point I gotta get the battery out of here, I'm sure. Lovely. I'm missing a battery bolt, strap bolt. So it should have two 10 millimeter bolts. Mine, thankfully enough, only has one. What a sweet deal. Let's see, I probably should show you guys this. Get you moved over here. I'll just take you off the stand here. Gonna get shaky for a bit, guys. So this battery needs to come out, and so we'll go ahead and use the Phillips. Oh, that is a humongous black bald-faced hornet. Sorry, guys. Alright, guys, before I got so rudely interrupted by the black bald-faced action, that one. Alright. Ready to get the battery out here. Don't know why I don't have washers on those. Does this come right out? Hey, look at that. And there's also a rag, and I got a bunch of stuff in here. So next we're going to be taking off these bolts right here and over there. Those are, I believe, 10 millimeter as well. Let's see if I can... We'll put those back here in a minute. Let's see, what else is holding this plastic on? There's this one. So far these are all the same length. I can't believe I'm missing one. That pisses me off. And you know what? I think the only place maybe we're fastened is down here. I'll go ahead and put you guys back in the tripod. Alright, tripod action it is. So I just got that other side to do. And I think I'm done. I think I can get to that. Let's see. And I'm not sure what else is holding this plastic on here. What's holding this on? Something up front. Maybe the air boot? What's holding the air boot in? Alright guys, so we're trying to figure out what's holding this plastic in. It might be the air boot. holding the air boot in? Is it strapped to something? I don't see anything. Alright guys, it's a mystery. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm not quite sure how to do this. Maybe I'll just take you out again. There's screws right down in here. Can you see them? Right here. So I'm going to take those out real quick. One. Two. Now hopefully this airbox will lift off. Yep, it does. Alright guys, I think that's it. Let me, yeah, I think that's it. Let me put you back. Alright, so we're going to try to get this thing off of here. Hopefully it works. It just comes right out like a good little... I think the airbox maybe has to come off first. Okay, airbox is easy. You just take there's a, on the boot to the carburetor, there's a screw, super easy to take off. I'll show you guys in a minute. A whole bunch of electronics here. Whole bunches of it. I want it to all come out in one chunk. How do we do that? Whole bunches of electronics, guys. You know what? Maybe I'll take the electronics out with the back end. Maybe that would be easier. Put these back. So there's these tangs that this thing slides over. Come on. Go back over it. I'm thinking it might be easier to take the electronics out with the seat. So, I'm not even sure how to show you guys that. Let's see, what needs to come out? Gosh darn it, why'd they make this so difficult? This relay slides out. Alright guys, it looks like the computer's bolted in. There's a bolt or a screw right here. There's a whole bunch of electronics that comes out. Come on. Jeez, look at all this shit. So, I'm not sure. Wow, what a mess. I'm going to get you guys off there again and come around and have a look at this thing. So this focus up. This pulls out right here, and then there's a whole bunch of electronics that wants to come out of that hole. So I don't know what all needs to be unplugged. All this crap here needs to be unplugged. So how do I show you guys that? I guess I bring the tripod over here. Alright, I'm going to try to get you as close as possible. And we'll bring the super light over and light this up too. Oh. Come on, Gorilla Pod thing, work. Alright, so you're going to need the small screwdriver, I'm sure. Alright, I know I keep saying it, guys, sorry. So let's start pulling connectors apart here. And this one. And we could leave that one. We got ECU connectors, I'm assuming. Wow, there's quite a bit of sand on that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What else do we got left to do here? So we're trying to... What is that? Okay, squeeze that out from the bottom. Alright guys, there's a thing that's holding the wiring in, and you have to help it out of the plastic. I think it might be like one of those little barbed fittings. Yeah, whoops. Super light. Now we're trying to shove stuff back through this opening. I know we can get the ground through here, no problem. So we'll pull that through. And then I'm going to guess that that is an 8mm. 8 I don't know. I'm not Spanish. Guys, I'm sorry I'm not as funny as everybody else on YouTube, but shit. I'm just trying to keep this a straightforward process. Gosh, I hope I can find that. There it is. This really isn't Goon Squad, this is more like educational. So, sorry. And we need to unplug this side. Alright. Put this bolt back in here. We'll put this in with all the other electronics. Can we slide this out yet? A lot of plugs. Hey, everything is going through. Alright. Plastic is off. Please tell me you guys are still recording. Yes. Plastic's off, guys. Alright, so now we're going to take the bolts that could get lost. We're going to put them back in the frame where they're supposed to go. So I am missing one for this section right here, which does not make me happy. But the store will be able to fix that. Oh, this clip goes in the plastic back there. I'll go put that back on it here in a second. These are probably 13, something like that. No, they're not 13. What are they? They're 11, right? Yep. 11 millimeter, guys. Okay, there's one that comes with a washer. The one with the washer is for the exhaust. So, don't get that confused. Come on out of there. I'm not throwing that to be a jerk. I'm just trying to get this out of my hands. I think you guys are probably getting critically low on battery because I'm filming on my phone. So we'll probably have to stop this and come back to it another day. Because I don't know, or this evening, because you guys are probably dead on batteries. Yeah, you're running out of time, so we're going to stop you. Alright guys, so last time we were on this was literally a month ago. I have some screws here. I'm not even sure where they go. They're obviously for plastic. So I'll have to get that sorted out when I can figure out where they went. That's sort of one of those no-nos you never do, is just leave screws sitting around. So I'll find out where these go, or I don't know, guess. I should be able to figure it out. So I think the last time we were doing this, we were working on getting the exhaust off. I don't know exactly what's involved in doing that. I got a bunch of different fittings that are loose here. I got a pipe clamp here that's loose. Hopefully you guys can see some of this. Maybe I'll move you around a little bit. Alright, so there's, it's kind of a mess here, but I'm going to go ahead and continue to work on the exhaust. I'm not even sure where I left off at. It looks like maybe that's a 12 millimeter. Nope, it's an 11. So, I'm sure there'll be questions as to why this video is so long. It's long format so that I can make sure that you guys get all the necessary sizing and everything that you need to know about taking stuff off. So right now I'm taking the exhaust off. Should have grabbed a socket here. 11. Let me grab the wrench that's over here. Once I get the gas tank off, I'll be able to remove that block that keeps me from being able to spin it around. I think I'm going to make one of these that's a permanent setup, some kind of fixturing where I don't need this table. But so for right now, we'll get this off. Is that an 11? That should have fit it. It's a 12. Huh, bizarre. Alright, so I misspoke earlier. Thought it was an 11. It's 12. So, getting that one off. I'm getting this upper one off. And hopefully the exhaust just slips right out. Of course it's not going to do that. I'm probably going to take it off the... In fact, I think I have to take it off the motor. What size are those? Those look like... The ones on the engine are... It looks like they're 10 millimeter. Yep, they're 10s. So these, I'll bring you guys around here so you can see it. Right here. You guys can't quite see it. Let me get it. So they're right there. There's two of them. They're 10 millimeter, and they seem like they are not as tight as they should be. I'm surprised at how loose they are. I'm gonna go around to the other side and get. Alrighty, I hope to God that didn't erase everything. So I'm gonna check in a sec. So we're in the middle of getting the exhaust manifold gas or bolts off, or the exhaust bolts, whatever you want to call them. And they're sort of tucked in here where you can't get to them real easy. Is there any way I can get in there with... Nope. A short socket would do it, but I don't want to go get my other set out. I'm too lazy. So there that one goes. Come on. And leaves the socket for the other side, if I can find it. I'll just do that. See if we can get this lit up for you guys a little bit. And I need a 10 millimeter. So the size on the head is 10s. One side you can get to with a socket, a long one, the other side you can't. So I had to use an open end wrench. Probably could have used a short socket. Don't care. Come on out of there. It goes through the socket. Alright, let's see if that'll come out. Most certainly will. So, looks like I still have to separate the exhaust, so I'm sure you guys that have done this before know that. You're probably laughing. Oops. Alright guys, so Yamaha in their infinite wisdom decided to use these nice rusty ass number 3 screws. Couldn't figure out how to plate it or use stainless or maybe use some anti-seize. So I tried to use the impact gun to get them out, and I could tell they were immediately going to round over. So, old classic trick with some rusted ass bolts, besides spraying whatever it is, penetrating oil, is just to get a pair of pliers and clamp them tight as hell on the head, and I got them to move enough that then I could rattle them out. So, they're a piece of crap bolt, or nuts, or screws. I'll replace them. It's just a heat shield. I'm just trying to get to this area right here. I can't get this clamp off, or this exhaust separated into 2 pieces because it's on there really good. So trying to do that. You know what? Let me get this clamp clear off of here. Hope I don't bust it. Jeez, oh Pete. Make anything even shittier. Alright, so I'm trying to take some chisel and get this to open up a little bit. And of course it's froze on there pretty good, but it is in 4 sections. So I have been able to get it to flex just a little bit. Hopefully it'll be enough for it to slip off. I'm trying not to bend this thing real bad. Holy Moses. Yeah, that's like on there. I'm gonna pause you guys. There's no reason to watch me beat on that thing. Alright guys, so what it required was a pry tool like this to get the flanges spread apart. And then I ended up having to actually chisel backwards on the exhaust to get it to kind of pull out. Tons of rust. Definitely going to require some pretty serious cleanup or possibly replacement. So I'm going to roll this stuff back up and kind of keep it out of the working area since I'm done with it. Going to move on to the gas tank next since that's off. Okay, so we'll get this out of the road. This can go on this clamp. Obviously goes with the exhaust. Put that together in a little bit. I'm going to put these bolts back in the frame so I don't lose them. Except if I drop them or cut my hand doing stupid shit. Put those back. Yeah, gas tank's next. Socket and wrench back over here. Gas tank's a number 10. Number 10. Sorry guys. You guys are going to jump my ass for that, I'm sure. 10 millimeter. Gas tank bolts are 10 millimeter. And what I'm going to do real quick is record. I see something that I'm going to want to pay attention to. So, oops. Man, I hate this Mac wrench. Switch is so easy. One of the things I'm going to take you guys off real quick and show you is that hose routing right there. And it goes down through there and goes back. I don't know if it's a vent or what, but it goes back through there. So I'll just show that. We're going to take those 4 bolts off. I'm not sure how... Oh, it's connected over here too. When I took it off right here, it ripped. So I'll have to replace that. And this actually came out, so I don't know if what I'm going to have to do there. And then that clearly goes down to the carburetor. I don't know what other attachments there are, so I'll let you guys know if I find anything else. Alright, so we're taking the gas tank off. So should grab my... Not sure why I'm doing it this way, guys. Hold up. This is ridiculous. Get my handy dandy Harbor Freight nut drivers. You can hate them or you can love them, but they work. So they are all the same length. There are rubber grommets, and I'm not sure what else. There's some kind of rubber thing up here that's stuck to. Carefully pull that out. There's these metal things in the front and the rear. These washers that come out of the front real easy. So make sure you put these back, because they fall out of the tank super easy. So we'll put those back. Come on. And then, oh, those go in the front. Sorry guys, these will go in the front, not the back. And the back ones, let me see if they pull out. No, they're in there. They're in there tight. So this goes up front. Don't want to lose that. And these had paint on them. These had paint to mark whether they've been taken off or not. So we'll probably remark them. I don't know why, but they had marks. So that was easy enough for gas tank. I'm going to go set that out of the road. I'll be right back. Alright, boys and girls. We're back. And I decided I'm going to take off this chain and start working on the back end here. So, I got the master link right here, and I got to work on taking this whole setup off. I know that this slips down, and then this actually slips out of the e-brake holder somehow. But of course I can't get it off readily. So anyways, we'll do that at some point. We'll get, how did they get these routed? Must have slipped it down in between the smaller piece. Alright, so let's see, what do I need to take this off? Millimeter. Caliper bolt. Alrighty, that's not going to come off that easy. Let's go grab something with a little more leverage. Alright guys, I figured it wouldn't be a bad idea to use some little tiny bit of penetrating oil. Because creaking like a mofo, and I don't know what if it's how hard it's going to be to get off. So, oh yeah, unhappy. Get that the rest of the way off without that one was about 10 times easier. That would be my dad's T-Bird. Alright, that one came out no problem. Do I got a 12 on here? Just barely. Ah, can't get to it. Why isn't that coming out? Holy smokes, it's freaking jammed in there somehow. Alright, so somehow that's actually stuck in the chassis. I have to pound it out somehow. Be right back with you guys. Alright guys, so I'm using a little pair of needle nose pliers to bend this up straight and get it out of here. And then it's got a little washer, and I will hold that up to camera so you can see the size that they are. Very small. So we'll take off the autofocus, and right there. Oop. There we go. Little guys, right? Tiny little ones. So we'll get it focused back over there. So don't want to lose those. We'll push the pin out. We'll take this pedal assembly off. We'll put the washer back on. And we'll put the pin back through the direction it came out. Which I need to straighten it just a little more. That is a tiny circlip. I wonder if that's ever fallen out on somebody riding around in the dunes. That's not the most encouraging design, but whatever. So we got this off. Excuse me, guys. We'll set this down here for now. Like I said, I'm going to put a bunch of that stuff away, but for right now I just want to get it out of the road so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, socket back. Now, what size are these? I gotta go get some Allen wrenches. I'm gonna put you guys on hold. Okay, I would have got the Allen drivers out, but I feel like Allen wrenches are one of those things you can strip out really easy. So they're 5s, and you just can feel it through an old school Allen wrench whether you're gonna strip it out or not. Okay, so that's loose, There's no nuts behind them. Let's see, what was that? That was a 13. Nope, it was a 12. Gotta get the reservoir off. Oh, it's on both these. These do matter. The rear one is shorter than the front one. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Battery power is low. I gotta hurry. Rear one shorter than the front one, so rear one goes back in the short rear position. And then the front one with the washer goes in the front position. And that's because of the thickness of the foot peg. I'm going to get these 2 bolts out and this should come off. Hopefully you guys don't die before then. Go, go, go. Alright, there's one. These go way through the frame. Holy cow. They're the same length. Don't got to worry about that. Got the reservoir bolted off, or unbolted, slip it back behind. Put these back in, and your brakes, I believe, can come out. Oh, you got the e-brake. That's the one thing you got to deal with. So, if you guys haven't died yet, last thing is the e-brake. Alright guys, so I got the brakes off. Last thing I did was pull this out. You just slip the little boot back and pull it through, where did it go? You pull it through this part on the caliper. And then you just twist it up, slip the cable out, and you're all done there. So this, since this has got fluid in it and I don't want it to leak everywhere, I'm going to leave this out until the last. I'll put this in my box last so that this can go up on top and doesn't leak. So for right now, I'm just going to set it off to the side like this so I don't lose any fluid. I'm going to pop this master link off. We're going to be going to pizza here soon, so I'm going to wrap this up. Not a big fan of pizza, but I am a big fan of family. Okay, come on, I know that this normally pops off. Worked on a BMX back 1,000 times. These are a little tighter, apparently. I don't want to jam my thumbnail off trying to get this off. Arrgh, this normally is not this hard. Where's a hammer at? Of course, I've never done a motorcycle chain before, but bicycle master links are usually pretty easy to get off. I don't want it to go flying. There we go. That was not too bad. Pry the master link off. Oh, it's frozen on there. Gee, Christmas, that's on there. These cheap little Harbor Freight switchable screwdrivers are actually pretty handy. If I could get... Holy smokes, this is on there. Jeez. Wow. This chain is effed. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen a chain this bad. Alright guys, obviously I'm going to have to get ugly with this thing. Wow. I'm going to stop you guys. There's no point in you watching me screw around with this chain. Alright guys, I finally got the chain off. It's an O-ring chain. O-rings obviously are destroyed. The chain's effed. What I had to do is get a large screwdriver that I could get a crescent wrench on and get it in there and actually turn it with the crescent wrench, because that sucker, I mean, it took me, I don't know, I bent this tip a little bit. I'm going to have to pound it back on pavement or something to straighten it out. Which pisses me off because this is a good screwdriver, but that thing was just demolished. So, chain's no good. Obviously, that's going to go in the garbage. But it's an O-ring chain, and I'll probably get an X-ring for it, a colored one or something. It'll help it sell. So, in the meantime, that's what I had to do to get that stupid thing off. And then we'll get to taking this rear end off next. Talk to you guys in a bit. Alright guys, next thing on the order of items is the brake rotor, and then after that is going to be the sprocket. Rotor looks like it takes a 6mm Allen wrench and give it a little tap. And I probably should have left the chain on to do this. This is going to be interesting. Let's see, what can I jam this up with? See if that does it. No. Smokes. Oh, wow. Okay. These are really in here. Cheater bar. Wow. Let me pause you guys. There's no point in struggling here. Alright, in the process of trying to get the right angle for you guys, I spilled coffee everywhere, so that sort of pissed me off. Maybe I can put it down here. No, I don't do it like that. So, I'm afraid of trying to reef on that too much more. So I'm going to get out a little bit heavier duty set here. I got the breaker bar and a socket, which I've never used before, so hopefully they fit pretty tight. Half the time I can't get these things off of here. So hopefully this won't snap off. Well, it fits tight all right. Too tight, damn it. Alright guys, when they fit real tight like this, that was stupid of me. You're supposed to pound them in. That was really dumb of me. So let's try this again. See if I can screw it up worse. What I really need is a little helper. Oh. Wow. Okay, so that actually twisted the 6mm. So, and it damn near slid this off the rack. I'm not sure what to do about this. Thinking I should have left the brakes on. Besides that, let me try a different one. So I'll try this one. And put a little bit of liquid wrench back here. See what this does. Oh, good old Harbor Freight. At least I get to take it back. Well, the Harbor Freight tool was sort of willing. So, I'm sure you guys are laughing about that. I'm going to stop you guys. Alright guys, thank God for YouTube. That's why I do this stuff. So, basically I had to wedge this in there, which is no big deal. It's a rubber handle. But what I did have to do was use a punch to drive this open to get it to turn. I basically, you can see, I don't know if you can see it on video, but I had to destroy this thing. I'll get it out and show you guys. So now I should be able to get my handy dandy vice grips on here. And get it loose. I hope I don't have to use this process on all of these. What moron at Yamaha would use such a small head knowing that these might or will seize in place, or at least want to because of the heat. They could have used a socket head and probably put an 8mm one on here, a hardened one. And this wouldn't have happened. These are soft. I shouldn't be able to use a punch to deform these. So let me show you guys up close what I literally had to do. So I had to take a punch and actually deform that so that it would loosen up. I tried. This tool is an impact tool that turns slightly as you hit it in the back, and all it did was start to round out the Allen heads. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have to do this on the rest of them, but I suspect I will. So might as well get started here. So basically I drive straight in at first. I'm going to replace this disc, this rotor. I'm just trying to get a really big hole made in this thing. And then start driving at an angle. And once it starts moving, if I can get the socket back in there, which I think I deformed it too much. Yeah, I did. So these are just so damn soft. So I should be able to take this out and just get a hold of this on the side of the head. And nope, not quite. I have to tell you, there's not too many things that I've had be this much of a pain in the ass. This is pretty shitty. All I'm trying to do is tap this in enough to... There we go. Once you get them started, I should be able to use this and another extension because it won't reach out past the axle. So there's two. And that rotor's just warped all the rat shit. So the other thing is this is now stuck on the end, so I'm going to thread it back in just enough to get my tool out. There we go. And then, oops, be able to just thread that out of there. So there's number 2 of the, and these are blue Loctite in, which is fine. It's just that obviously not only are the bolts are not hard enough, but the not only are the bolts not hard enough, but they're not big enough. The tool for the head's not big enough. So I've had to do this with many BMX type products before. Trying not to mash my fingers. I don't know if that moved or not. It may have. See if I can tap this in and find out. You guys still going? Yeah. Alright, there's another one out. I only got one more. Okay, last one, guys. I've already rattled on this one, so I know it isn't going to come out the way I want it to. So, I'll do the same setup. East wing handled hammers fit right in there. I had no idea this was going to happen. I would have done this while the chain was on the brakes and all that. So, let that be a lesson to you guys. Make sure you get these bolts off. Make sure you get these bolts off prior to taking the chain off or the caliper. Alright. Last one. That one just happens to fit right in there. Alright guys, those are off. I'm going to stop the video and take this off. Alright, this is going to require a 14 millimeter, and I'm going to guess it's a number 6. Let me see here. Since I decided to snap my other number 6 just a minute ago. Well, let's try it out here. Ah, come on. I guess you can get it started doing that and then get it off this way. There's one. Hopefully you guys can still see that.
Yeah, lovely. Drop these.
So yeah, it's a 6 and a 14. You can get them started with your, just breaking them loose with the 14 and then finish up with the 6 and the 14. Yes, I could have an impact gun. I just don't want to bring the air in here right now. Sort of easier to do the video without a bunch of crazy noise. So get that started. Holy smokes. Definitely need a rotisserie that straps down to this thing. I'll have to invent something. I lost my light too while I was screwing around here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, now I'm starting to get pissed off. I'm going to start swearing here in a minute. Alright, let's try this one more effing time. You guys still see that? Alright. Last one. Alright, that's loose enough that I should be able to rotate it down and get it off via this Allen wrench. I can get it in there. Okay, there we go. That wasn't super useful. Again, this would be another one of those things I would recommend getting them all started with the chain on. Would have been a lot easier. And then I'll just throw these back through so I don't lose them. Still have the this star still has the gold patina on it on the inside of the holes. They were on there so tight they were basically waterproof. So now that I got this off, that comes right off. Go down here. This side I have to take this thing off. I'll figure that out here in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and stop you guys. Alright, this top bolt right here on the axle is 2/17. And hopefully that'll just tap right out. We'll see about that. Yeah, for the most part it comes out pretty easy. Put that back here in a minute. And the other one down here is, looks like a 15. They seem to like 14. Is it a 14? Yep, it sure is. So I lied, it is a 14. Ding, wait a minute. Ah, this is one of those ones where they do the different size on one side. Are you kidding? 17 on one side and 15 on the other. There goes the axle. Oh, that ringing. Can't wait to get that thing off. You guys still on up here? You are. Washer, bolt. What sort of... Okay. That was nothing. Hey, look at that. Rear axle's out. Alright. So I'm going to put all this stuff back for right now until I decide how I want to, what order I want to take it apart in. I wonder if those are welded to the frame or if they're just, they're spot welded, I think. Nice adjusters. Alright, next is going to be the bash guard and work our way up the suspension there. Alright, let's try this again. So there's a dot right here that lines up with this side of this opening. And so when I take this loose, I'll have to watch this video back. That dot lines up with the front side of the opening. So we'll get this loose, get this foot peg off. I didn't show you guys this side because it's the same as the other side other than this piece. So for those of you that are doing it, there's a dot. Should line up with the front side of the crack of this opening right here. We'll get that off. It's a 10 millimeter. Hopefully it slides right off. And I'm gonna need a little persuasion. My dad's working on a bench, so that's why it's loud. So we'll open that up a little bit. And why is it not just slipping right off? Ah, come off! Pry against the case. That's a smart thing to do. Jiminy Christmas. How is this not just coming right off? Alright guys, now I'm getting pissed. This should slide right off these threads, or these splines. Wow, okay. It's total bullshit. I guess I'm going to have to go get a pry bar. Alright, let's see if I can get it off with my sweet Harbor Freight pry bars. Yep, that worked just fine. Ooh, there's all kinds of sand packed in there. Alright. Obviously the dunes didn't do that any good. That came right off, so happy day. Go set this over in the pile of stuff. Right down there. Like, we'll go back to this shock thing. I just wanted to get this off. I'm also going to get some of this. You guys can't see it. Let's see. I'm going to get this plastic off. This one off. Leaving that for now because I don't want to have to remember where it goes. This clip up here comes off with a little screwdriver. It slides off a pin. I'm going to do that later. So we'll get these plastics off and then we'll go back here again. So. All right. Plastic. The rollers for the chain are these two bolts, although they don't seem to be coming off, so I'm not sure what that's all about. Does this unsnap? Yes, it does. Got a little snap on there. And I don't know why these aren't coming off. I think they're threaded in from both directions. That's kind of strange. We'll deal with those rollers here in a little bit. Alright, these are 8s. There's one more up there. Oh, that one's missing. Lovely. Hopefully that's on a different part somewhere. You guys see what I'm doing? Yep. These, I'm guessing, are different lengths. One has a washer, so don't mix them up. The third one in the front I'm missing, so I'm either missing it, or it was attached to a different part. But since I've been putting these back, I'm guessing I'm actually missing it. So this one is longer and it's just covered in something. White yuck. And then the one that goes to the steel frame is shorter and has a washer. So that one goes back here. Put that away in a little while. So I think we'll move back to the back here again. Alright guys, so these are 12s, the bash guard bolts, rear bash guard bolts are 12s. They came off super easy. And there's a compression ring in the bash guard to keep from crushing it. So you may want to get that out when you pull the bash guard out. It's not going to come out for right now, so I'll just set that aside. And then there's two way up front, up by the shock. I can't quite get that one. I guess they're 12s on both sides, yep. That was on there a little better. Leave the spacer in for now. I know that they need to come out all at once. Again, these are 12s. These are much shorter up here. This time the washer's on the with the head and the insert pulled out with the bolt. And last but not least, this side. Sorry if I'm in your way, guys. I'm not trying to be. I should have got my driver set up, and you guys would be a lot happier about that. Bash guard will come off. So I'm going to put these bolts back together with the bash guard. No need to leave you guys hanging there. Alright guys, this bad boy was stout. It's a 17 millimeter. But once you get it cracked, it just comes right off. So far this bike's been really easy to take apart. I'm impressed. Holy shit. That scared me. So we got a couple more things to take off here. We'll do this one because it's easy to get to. Another 17. Get all the electronics out of the road. Can you guys see that? Not really. There we go. So, wrench on one side, socket on the other. Oh, oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. Alrighty. Sent that off the table. This thing's starting to get light in the back, so I'm going to slide it back on this support thing I have. There we go. Thought that would just slide right out. Come on, just slide out of there. Alright, why am I dicking around with that? Next, gonna require an extension for this one. Okay. Is that an 18 or some bizarre thing? Alright. Whoever, I think that's a 19. I thought they were going to be, someone authorized the use of an 18. Yeah, that's a 19, guys. Alright. Are you guys still on? Oh, you can't even see. My deepest apologies, guys. 19 millimeter up here on the top. If you're dumb like me and use the deep socket, you gotta get that off before. Or you could just take the roller off that's in the road, which I'm gonna guess is a 12, because Yamaha seems to like 12 on this bike. 12, 14. Yeah, so if you just get the roller out of the road, life will be fantastico. And now I can get the socket off. There we go. Where did that, oh, that's the roller. So hopefully this bolt will slide right out and not be a pain in the ass. And I'll put the roller back on so I don't lose track of it. Huh. Those are all soft tools, guys. I'm not hitting it with anything hard. Oh, 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 shit's falling out. There's keepers, so make sure those stay in there, in the top of the shock. Get the washer and the bolt back on, just thread it on and set down out of the road. I'm going to grab that roller that fell. So I'm going to put the roller back on because I don't want to lose it right now. But I'll just leave the bolt hand tight. That was a 12, by the way. Alright guys. Next thing we're going to do is take this arm off here. It's the next day. I went to Harbor Freight, and I'd like to say thank you to Harbor Freight if anybody from that company is watching. They promptly replaced my snapped off 6mm with no questions asked, which is wonderful. And I went ahead and got a pair of these, their cheapest version, but they're still, they do the job. I don't know why people put Harbor Freight down. But, you know, if you can afford Snap-on, good for you. So, anyways, we're going to move on to the swing arm here. I'm not quite sure how that comes off. Looks like it's a pretty big bolt. So, what is that? I'm gonna guess that's like 22. It's definitely not 19. What do I got here? I got a 22 in my new Harbor Freight set. Except I can't get it off the thingy it's on. Crapola. Sorry guys. Got some asthma going on today. Damn it. Alright, that's a 22. Gonna need a bit of an extension. And I'm gonna have to get a come on. There we go. Is the other side rotating? No, it's not. Now it is. Do I have a crescent wrench big enough here that's out? I sure do. All right. Who's here? My dad. So, 22 in the old crescent wrenchy. And a big old bolt. In case you're wondering, that was almost my toe. That's what the bolt looks like. Big Herkin thing. Thank God that did not hit me in the toe just now. Maybe that's a case for you safety Nazis out there with steel-toed boots. Because that was close. That would have shattered my toe. There's some kind of roller on one side for the chain. Not quite sure how that works. So I'll have to figure that out later. I can't believe that's not aluminum, but I'm not sure where we're going next, so see you in a bit. Alright guys, if we can, I'm going to work on cabling next. So this is probably going to require things like needle nose pliers and small screwdrivers. So I'm going to grab those real quick. I should have had them all ready for you guys. So, clutch cable first. It's got this weird sheet metal piece that I don't like, but I guess it works. And then you slip it towards the clutch, and probably have to loosen the clutch cable up. Let's see, where's the adjustment for that? So you got to slip off the rubber boot up here. Let's see, can you guys see what I'm doing? Up here. And we're going to detension the cable, old BMX style. And then that gives us the slack to pull. May have to use pliers. Huh. Almost looks like this needs to be opened up a tiny bit. Oh, there we go. Let's see, I think that's it as far as connections go. Now I just got to get it out of the frame. It slips out right up there. It slips out. That rubber boot's no good. I'm going to have to replace that. So we'll pull this back and that'll slip out. Make sure you guys can still see. So that slips out. Boot pulls forward. And then the e-brake just comes out of these curly Q keepers. And is that everything? Let's see. Let me check the other side real quick, guys. Spin this around. That is, in fact, everything to get this out. Oh. So there's that cable set. We'll set that on the table over here for right now. I'm going to inspect those cables and make sure there's no kinks in them. Next is this wiring harness. So let's see. Actually, throttle cable, but I don't know how to get that off. So we'll do the wiring harness next. So alright. So this rear harness back here, can you guys see it? It gets a screwdriver in from the front, and it should slip right off that pin. There we go. And we got something going into the stator here. Can I pull that out separately? Zip tie, which has got, it's a self-releasing kind of cheap zip tie here. Looks like we can unplug these two. So there's a couple things attached to the engine that are going to stay with the engine. One is this clip. Oh, and you actually lift it up to pull it apart. Alright, and then number two is this guy. And that stays with the engine. Okay. We'll actually put that back on here. That'll be a good place to keep this. And then we have one coming from a sensor on the motor. Does that pull off? Or do I want to... I'm going to leave that on the motor too if I can. That pulled off nice and easy. So those can stay with the motor. What's next? Some of this front harness stuff. Let's see. These will also release this plastic component here, this rubberized component. Let's see, we got another harness here. That's actually going to come off with the harness because it's, I want to powder coat the frame here. So this cable here, not sure how these come off. I'll have to look that up. Wait. There's little clips here, I'm not sure. Oh, they just pull off, so I didn't have to take that apart. Alright. Alright. I have a ground to deal with. I'm going to put this wrap back up here somewhere so I can keep track of it. Right. Yeah. And then the ground, what size is that? That's a little 8mm. I'm going to put an extension on there. So there's the ground. And then what I'll probably do is put that, not probably, I'm going to definitely put that bolt back in. Boy, there's some corrosion on that bolt. And just snug that back up for now. Alright. You guys are on the 8-minute mark. And until I get a new camera, I get to deal with the bullshit of my camera. Of my phone. A camera phone. Alright, we've got another sensor here that goes over to... That's part of the chassis. That's got to come off. I'm not quite sure I'm going to deal with that just yet. We got one more here that I can squeeze. Are we close? Yeah, we're real close. Got the starter. So I'm going to we'll get back to this. Alright guys, on this side, we got the wire that comes out of the shifts front reverse selector here. We're gonna pull it apart right here. It's just a bullet connector. I took apart this, which is also part of this rubber flap, and it also holds these two cables in place. And then hopefully it's in frame here. Up here there's a little twist cable-y thingy. It just holds these two together, keeps them from flopping around. I should drop it on the floor. This pulls out with the larger wiring harness out that way. Put this little twist cable thing back on. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm going to put this zip tie. Actually, I'm going to put the zip tie with the rubber boot. That way I don't lose it and I know where it's supposed to go. That makes more sense. And the rubber boot's hooked up here. Rubber boot's hooked. Oh, I gotta take you off. Rubber boot's hooked right here. I'm sure you guys love that. And I'm gonna get the cable from the other side. Where is it? Right here. And I'm going to put it on this so I don't forget how it went on there. So it went on like this. And that can go down below. And then, what do I got left here? There's another clip. Try not to hit you guys with the frame. There's another clip right up here. Yeah, it's off camera, right up here. And I'm going to squeeze that out of the frame. So, alright, that's pulled loose. So I just got to see what's left here. I got a plug on this sensor that can... No, that's... What is that? That's throttle. Is that right? What is that? Oh yeah, the throttle. That's thumb throttle. I'm gonna have to figure out how that comes off. Starter. So let's see, anything else? All of this shit from the back here can come out. Oops, stuff. Keep YouTube PC. There's one other sensor here. Damn it. There's always something. Alright, it's the sensor that, it's this little guy, right? It's this guy right here. Gotta take that off. I think I'm actually gonna pull it out of the bracket and leave the bracket on for now. Is there one in the back? What a pain in the ass. Does it come off the top any easier? I don't think so. So, I think, besides making sure that's back down over that edge, I think the easiest thing to do is take that off. I'm going to guess that's a 10. Yeah. Alright, that'll just stay with the wiring harness. These clips, we're going to pull these clips off. One. There's one on the other side too, guys. Oops. So there's a second one right over here. And that should allow for this sensor to come out with the harness and the spring. And that's it for this harness as far as everything except the one thing I got to get off is the throttle, thumb throttle. And then that whole harness comes out. So I'm not quite sure how that goes. And we'll find out here in a minute. Alright guys, instead of juking around and trying to figure out this carb thing, I'm just going to take this screw off And there's a wave washer, there's a flat washer, there's a large keeper washer, and there's a wave washer. So all together on this thing, just so you guys know, there are 3 washers. Whoops. There's 3 washers there. I know it's kind of hard to see, the lighting's not real good in here. But what it does is it's going to allow me to take this handle off. I gotta make sure there's no more washers. And then turn the handle. And get the cable out. So now on the bottom side of this, can you guys see? Let me zoom in here. On the bottom side, that clip right there, you pull that clip down and it allows this, they have to come out. It allows this cable to come out. At least it should. It does. And I'm just going to snug it up. And that can go with electronics. This turns out this is the choke. I'm going to, oh gosh, you guys are zoomed way in. I'm just going to curl the choke up and separate it from the wiring harness. I don't want to deal with pulling the carb apart. I'm way too lazy to do that. What was that? So I'm going to curl this choke up, choke cable, like that. All I got to do is get the starter out now. Alright, peel this little cap back. Watch out, partner, or we'll peel your cap back. Yeah. So, undo all this little gobbledygook. Take the lead off, put that back on so we don't lose it. Get to the chopper. Pull this through this little snake-a-mabob, and the wiring harness is officially out. Alright everybody, how about we move on to the reverse switch here. So it's number 5. They come loose pretty easy. So you can see I already loosened them because I cheated. This clip comes off right here, and I'm going to put it around this so I don't lose it. And what I did, I'll show you guys an up close. I marked the threads on the transfer shaft. Oh, there's a ground on there too, it looks like. So, don't want to lose that. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. So, what we're going to do is I marked the threads, and I'll show you guys that in just a second here. Just got to put these back in the frame enough so I don't lose them. So right here, I'm going to bring you guys around. You can see on that shaft right there, I've got a permanent marker line, and that just will allow me to get the same placement as there was before. I carefully marked it right up to the body of the nut. It's actually across the face too. You can't, let me see here. Yeah, you can see it there. So right there you can see it's marked right across the nut. That way I can get it in the same position when I take it off. And we're going to unthread that and take that off here. So I'm going to zoom you guys back out. Get that light out of the way. And what I can do now is just unthread this entire assembly out of that piece, and I don't have to take the whole thing apart and potentially get that spring all screwed up that's down there, big heavy spring. So I'm going to thread this out. Keep coming. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I went to the skate park and screwed my wrist up. So that wasn't no fun. Alright, we're going to go to the next part. We're going to take the carb off next. It's a 6mm tar. And alright, this is pretty stuck on here, guys. Gosh, I don't want to strip this out. That sucks. I'm going to try the one on the back side. That one came loose. So I'm thinking I can get this one loose if I'm just persistent. Try a little bit of liquid wrench, maybe. Man, that liquid wrench stinks. Oh, yep, there we go. Alright, cool. So both of those are instantaneously loose. And what taking the carb out does is it allows me not to have to unhook the thumb throttle, the choke cable, all that stuff still hooked up to the carb. I don't have to screw around trying to figure out how it goes together or whatever. Eventually I'll do something like that, but for right now I just don't want to deal with it. So this allows me not to lose any adjustment. This bike was running good when I started to take it apart. So everything's still hooked up, and that's just the way I like it. Alright, so now I got to get this out of the frame here. So I'm going to back you guys off because you're in too close. Hey. Fuel is running out. What am I hung up on? Oh. So the cable goes through the frame. I think I can just thread this through there. And then around the side. And ta-da! Carburetor out. So the carburetor's still got fuel in it, but I don't want that dripping everywhere. Alright, on to the next thing. Guys, we're at the home stretch here. We're going to start pulling engine bolts. So first we're going to do this upper one here. Probably just a little easier to get to with an extension. And what size is that? That is, I'm going to guess that's 14. That seems to be MO for Yamaha. Son of a bitch, these are hard to get off. Alright, 14 millimeter. See if it'll just crack from this side. My wrist is really jacked up from the park. I haven't ridden BMX in a number of years, and I was just trying to nose bonk this, is that a 13? I think that might be a 13 on the other side. What the hell? Is it a 12? Oh, it's a 12 on one side and a 14 on the other, guys. Anyways, I was trying to nose bonk this table and this box. And like I said, I haven't ridden in a long time, and I was higher than I thought, and my back end got away from me, and when I came down, I washed out. Well, I'm a big fat guy, and I came down and like compression my wrist real hard and twisted my ankle and all that other good shit that goes along with it. So what I should have done is chilled out and just rode and got used to it again, but I just thought I was going to show off and hurt myself. So I'm going to have to take a break and get healed back up. The next one is down here on the bottom. Can you guys see that? It's right down there. So again, this looks like a 14. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Oh, jeez. That one is on there. Oh, wow. I'm gonna go get an impact. Alright guys, it took me a impact long. I could have got it short, but to get it loose. So it's loose now, and so I should be able to throw my socket back on there and hopefully just get it out. Oh, let's move it on the other side. This one I think is a 14 down here. Let me see. Yeah, it's a 14 and a 14. Oh, it hurts my wrist so bad. I didn't break my wrist, but oh my gosh. I've broken it before, and this is, whatever I did is bad. I'm still wondering if they read the x-rays correctly, but because I've had that happen before too. You go back and tell them you're hurting, and then they tell you, oh, it is broken. Alright, so that one is going to go like this. So I set that right there. This one goes like this. Do all the bolts come through on this side? Oh, they all do. Alright. Alright, so 14 and 14 on that one. 14 and 12 on the first one. Now we're going to move over to these back two here. See if I can light these up for you guys. So, back here, it's going to be this one. And then down back here, it's going to be this one back here. So I'm not quite sure if you guys can see that, but this light's just going to have to get out of the road. I'm not sure how tight these are, so we'll just start off by using this bad boy. I don't got to worry about Leverage, yeah, that was tight. I believe this is a 14 and a 14. Oops. Don't dent the frame. Now this one may not come out because that reverse gear's in the road. Oh, it'll slide out of the way. Okay. Come on. Must have been having a bad day at the plant with the jig. Ah, the motor was tipping forward. Alright, so that one is out. And then the last one is down here. Let's see all this shit. Last one is down here at the back of the motor. That last one took a 14 and a 14, and so does this one. This is a 14 and a 14. So I just want to be careful and don't bust anything off. There we go. Take that one. I may or may not replace these motor mount nuts just because they seem like, I don't know, they're probably fine. I'll have to look it up and see if they're reusable. Alright, I think that's all 4 bolts. The back 2 are not the same length. The bottom is the longest. The middle one back here is second longest. The third shortest, the one with the white on it, you can't see that probably, goes up front, and then the little small guy goes up on the head. So I'm going to stop you guys because I'm not quite sure how to lift this out, and we'll be back. Alright, you guys can barely see it. These two upper motor mounts are removable, and I just somehow missed that. So they look like 12s, well, maybe 14s. They're 12s. What was my gut? Those make it a whole lot easier to pull the engine out. I don't know if you can get out without doing that. So these get to come out. Ow, 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 ow. There we go, 1. Let's see if I can lose the wrench down inside the motor. Just kidding. Actually, I think I only have to take one side out because it's coming out one direction. Get it? One direction? Anybody? So now that that's out, this should be a whole lot easier. Still not quite sure exactly. Okay. I'm gonna go grab a pry bar. BRB. Alright guys, so I'm gonna see if I can get this out. Harbor Freight. How much I love the Harbor Freight. None of the rest of them unbolt, so hits on the head. You have to take the other one out. It hits on the head. Stupid me. Estúpida. Write it down. Now, let's try this again. And the thing's a heavy beast. I wonder if I should be having two dudes to do this. Oh, shit. Wow. I'm thinking maybe I should have two guys doing this. I'm gonna go grab my son. The engine out because I'm not strong enough. We're gonna go towards you, but don't smash your fingers. It's heavy. So there's these mounts here and these, and the one on the bottom is where it's hitting. See it down there? So we need to tip it forward a little bit, or just lift. Okay. You want to go a little further? Can you get the whole thing? We're hitting up here. Tip it forward more. No. Smash your finger?
Yeah, I did just smash my finger.
I'm pissed off. Get this damn thing out of here. I'll have to bleep that out.
I just smashed my hand. You're welcome, YouTube.
Are you okay?
Oh, God. I'll get over it.
Oops. Yeah, so you definitely need two people. Somehow I didn't mean to. I mashed his hand, or he mashed his hand, or something. My wrist is totally jacked, so I certainly can't pick that motor up. Sorry to my loving son. But yeah, there's the motor. And there's the frame. So, be right back. Alright guys, Ty's okay. He's better. All the loose parts I put in here that kind of didn't have a home. In other words, I couldn't keep them connected. There's some electronics in here. Just got a Tupperware thingy to do that. So the last thing are these, and I'm going to guess those are 12s. Or, oops, sorry guys, they might be 10s. They're 10s. Get better at seeing the size right off the bat. So, these obviously are, the frame's trying to slide off. These are pretty loose. They're not too tight. They do not have a nut on the other side. It's a weld nut. So, once you get them loose, should just be able to throw them out real quick. Are you guys still centered? Yeah. So, get them out of there real quick. Get the skid plate off. Jeez, oh Pete. What am I doing? Why don't I have this out? This would have saved a lot of time. They are they're all the same length, guys, so you can't get them mixed up. And we'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm going to do a quick outro. Engine's heavy, make sure you got someone to help you with it. We'll see what we're going to do here in the near future with the frame. It was not as easy as I thought. Everything on the bike, other than the frame and some of the big body panels, gas tank, tires, you know, big clunky items, everything else fit in this tote right here. So I just packed it in there neatly and it all fits in there. I think that's all I've got for right now. I was surprised at how much rust is on the frame and how crappy the paint job actually is on this thing. I'm not sure what else to say. I gotta look it over and kind of collect my thoughts, but that's pretty much it. So I will talk to you guys later. I know you guys don't like it when I ramble on. I'm sorry. As always, my only goal in these videos is to help somebody, you know, somebody that's tearing one of these down or even just taking part of it apart. So, and I will talk to you guys later.